The Book of Revelation. Apocalypse of St. John. A 2002 poll indicated that 59% of Americans believed the events predicted in the Book of Revelation would come to pass. The Brookings Institute recently released the results of their survey entitled American Attitudes Toward the Middle East and Israel, which discovered that 73% of America's 50 million evangelical Christians believe that world events would turn against Israel the closer we get to the end times. Additionally, 79% of evangelicals interpret the unfolding violence across the Middle East as a sign that the end times are near. 2. Ultimately, it is the Book of Revelation that serves as the blueprint for the great work of the occult secret societies. The author of Revelation, John the Evangelist, has therefore become a patron saint of Freemasonry. The Book of Revelation, which was the result of the influence of Jewish apocalyptic literature, was the last book to have been accepted into the New Testament canon, and not without a lot of controversy. Its acceptance was the culmination of centuries of progress where the original simple teachings of Jesus were corrupted through the influence of Neoplatonism, Gnosticism, and the ancient mysteries, the most influential of which were the mysteries of Mitras. In fact, it was long rumored that the book was authored by a Gnostic named Cerinthus, a fact recognized by Albert Pike. According to Pike, in Morals and Dogma, described as the Bible of Freemasonry, the Book of Revelation represents the hidden secrets of the Jewish Kabbalah. The Apocalypse, that sublime Kabbalistic and prophetic summary of all the occult figures, divides its images into 3 septenaries, after each of which there is silence in heaven. There are 7 seals to be opened, that is to say, 7 mysteries to know, and 7 difficulties to overcome, 7 trumpets to sound, and 7 cups to empty. The Apocalypse is, to those who receive the 19th degree, the apotheosis of that sublime faith which aspires to God alone, and despises all the pomps and works of Lucifer. Lucifer, the light-bearer. Strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light, and with its splendors intolerable blinds feeble, sensual, or selfish souls? Doubt it not. For traditions are full of divine revelations and inspirations, and inspiration is not of one age nor of one creed. Plato and Philo, also, were inspired. The Apocalypse, indeed, is a book as obscure as the Zohar. It is written hieroglyphically with numbers and images, and the apostle often appeals to the intelligence of the initiated. Let him who hath knowledge, understand, let him who understands, calculate, he often says, after an allegory or the mention of a number. St. John, the favorite apostle, and the depositary of all the secrets of the Savior, therefore did not write to be understood by the multitude. 3. The Book of Revelation occupies a central place in Christian eschatology, and is the only apocalyptic document in the New Testament. Its influence has been exercised in the development of Christian millennialism, from millennium, Latin 4,000 years, or chiliasm in Greek, a belief held by some Christian denominations that there will be a golden age or paradise on earth, in which Christ will reign for 1,000 years prior to the final judgment and future eternal state, the world to come of the new heaven and new earth. The Book of Revelation begins with John, on the island of Patmos in the Aegean, addressing a letter to the 7 churches of Asia. John describes the opening of the 7 seals, and the servants of God who number 144,000, or 12,000 from each of the tribes of Israel. John tells that there was war in heaven as Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels. The result of the conflict was that the dragon was cast out of heaven and 1/3 of the angels were cast out with him, and are now trying to accomplish his purpose by working through the Roman emperor. He then describes a series of prophetic visions, including figures such as the Whore of Babylon, and uses the imagery of the book of Daniel, of a beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns, who forces all people to bear the mark of the beast. 666. After the destruction of the beast by the second coming of Jesus, the promised kingdom is set up, in which Jesus and the saints will rule for 1,000 years, and the righteous will reign in the city of God, which is the New Jerusalem. Satan is again released and goes out to deceive the nations, specifically, Gog and Magog, and instigates a final battle against God and his saints in Revelation 20:1, 6. Satan and his armies are defeated, and cast into the lake of fire, an event which is known as the second death and also Gehenna. During the Babylonian exile, the prophet Ezekiel foretold the reconstruction of the Jerusalem temple. Ezekiel then predicts the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple because of the abominations being practiced there, and closes with the promise of a new beginning and a new temple. Ezekiel saw a supernatural human figure who would serve as its architect, who showed him in detail the design measurements and ornamentation. The book finally envisions the permanent entrance of the God of Israel through the eastern gate of the third temple wall. When the Babylonian exile ended in 538 BC, great messianic hopes were placed on the revival of Israel's sacred mission, and the Second Temple of Jerusalem became the embodiment of its aspirations. Central to the expectations of the Book of Revelation is the rebuilding of what has been called the Temple of Jerusalem, being the third construction of the original Temple of Solomon. Since the destruction of the first Temple of Jerusalem by the Babylonians in 586 BC, and the Second Temple by the Romans in 70 AD, religious Jews and their Christian Zionist sympathizers have expressed their desire to see the building of a third temple on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The site's significance stems in part from religious traditions regarding the rock, known as the foundation stone, at its heart, which bears great significance for Jews and Muslims as the site of Abraham's attempted sacrifice of his son. According to some Islamic scholars, the rock is also from where the Islamic prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven accompanied by the angel Gabriel. 4. While holding significance to the three of the world's great faiths, the rebuilding of the Temple of Solomon is also at the core of the symbolism of Freemasonry, serving as an allegory for the order's plans, defined as the fulfillment of the prophecies of the Book of Revelation, also known as the Great Work, as indicated by Albert Pike. Whereas King Solomon was said to have used demonic entities to assist him in the construction of his temple, i.e. witchcraft, so Freemasonry uses the analogy of building or masonry, which is referred to as the craft, and is a reference to the use of magic for bringing about the creation of a new world order.